Good evening. And so, last week we finished up with the defense of Amaranthine, which apparently cost us the Vigil's Keep, and apparently the rest of the party is all dead. And we started the assault on the Mother's Lair and killed the Architect, who is apparently also described as being the father. But now we are continuing on and getting into the nest. I'm not actually sure how much more of this there's going to be. We might be at the end. Oh, yeah, we are at the end. This might be a short one. And, content warning, so this might be kind of, body horror-y.
If it isn't the hero of the hour. The slayer of the mighty father, come to claim a reward. Oh, what a delicious day.
That's a lot of nipples.
They just get bigger and uglier, don't they?
By the ancestors, do all brood mothers smell this bad?
Am I not beautiful? Has the Grey Warden come now to slay the mother too? Will she join the father in oblivion?
Thought I saw like a little puff of steam or something coming out of one of the nipples. That was... Who is this father?
He called himself Architect, but that did not change what he was. He said he wanted to free us, but all he brought us was silence. Dreadful silence. But now the father is gone. The mother can take her children deep into the earth and care for them, safe and sound.
Until the next time you send them to attack us again?
Oh, the mother knows your ways. You will not let her be, no, not after what she's done. So it must end. It all must come crashing down! Perhaps we will hear the song again when we die. Oh, let it come. Let it come. The hero is...
Very well. Will be done.
Jesus. This is... just a mess. Creating more of those. You're still.
What needs killing? Consider it done. Die!
Deep. Mm. Do you have a stun ability? You do not appear to have a stun ability. Alright. No! Oh, damn it.
Who's up for a nice serving of praise?
I. What the? And Ogren is.
I'll do it.
Okay, after the deaths of both the Architect and the Mother, nearly all the remaining Darkstalkers fled back into Deep Roads. Their raids on Amaranthine came to an abrupt end. Although some of the Architect's disciples likely escaped into Deep Roads with the rest of their brethren, they have, so far, shown no inclination towards vengeance against the Grey Wardens who killed their savior. Yet the Deep Roads remain plagued by Darkspawn, as they always have, and it seems certain that for a time another blight will begin. Well, yeah. The danger may have passed for now, but the cycle of the old gods continues. The word of everyone's heroic salvation of Amaranthine struck the Corfu with the magnitude of losses at Vigil's Keep came to light. Sympathy drove generous donations from all over Ferelden to the region's coffers. Amaranthine was restored to a former glory within a year. Vigil's Keep in 5. Because the Warden's support for law and order in Amaranthine Constable Aiden and his men were able to distribute the smugglers' goods to the battered survivors in the grueling days that followed the Darkspawn defeat. Although the war devastated many farms in the Arling, all agreed that the loss would have been greater without soldiers for protection. The farm holders developed a certain reverence for the Warden Commander, as well as an ongoing reliance on the Grey Wardens for order and protection. As I understand, that is kind of the state in the area known as the Underfells. There are like technically like temporal lords and it's like feudal lords and that such, but most of the people actually look to the Grey Wardens for leadership and protection. Dirk, one of the pranksters behind the Blighted Orphans scam, was fortunate enough to survive the Battle of Amaranthine. The unconditional generosity of the Blighted Orphans' mysterious benefactor inspired him to establish a legitimate charity dedicated to children orphaned in the attack. His sweetheart, Melissa, eventually bore him 2 rascals. Vigil's Keep stood alone against the Horde and Darkspawn. The Mother's force outnumbers the Vigil's Keepers many times over, but the certain Dwarven walls proved impervious to any boulder Ogre could throw. The Vigil soldiers, clad in silverite, felled each a dozen Darkspawn before they died. The Vigil held 1 night, then 2, then a week, and eventually the attacking horde broke upon our walls. The keep developed an almost mythic reputation, the few survivors immortalized in song and legend. Okay, that been under the impression that they'd all died. Peace allowed the wardens to replenish their numbers. Soon Vigil's Keep bore an army with wardens at its core. From their ranks emerged new heroes to challenge the threats to Amaranthine and all Ferelden. Through taxes and levies, the Vigil was rebuilt. Years later, Vuldrik Galavnok stood on the balance and pronounced that the defenses were acceptable. He would never speak more highly of any human engineering. Some nobles claimed the Grey Wardens were involved in the Ban Esmeralda's disappearance on the eve of the final battle against Darkspawn. Dark whispers hint that a conspiracy to oust the Wardens from Amaranthine was still afoot. Amongst the many legends that the Vigil spawned was one of the great heroes from the next age, a sheepherder turned soldier by the name of Sir Alec the Valiant, who eventually founded an order of knights that lasted 1,000 years. Commander's blade, Vigilance, crafted from the bones of ancient dragons, was boldly stolen by Antivan crows. The blade changed hands many times thereafter, with some master swordsmen pursuing the weapon their entire lives. Some claim that this legendary blade has had a life of its own, and that its power is growing steadily. Dwarven Galavnok further refined his lyrium sand explosives, but left the Warden's employ after Kunari mercenaries tried to assassinate him. Although the Dwarven Bombardier took his secrets with him, the learned say he left clues for others to follow in his footsteps. The Visual soldiers wearing the distinctive silverite armor that Master Wade crafted came to be known as the Silver Order. Under the tutelage of the Wardens, the Silver Order developed into one of Ferelden's most revered military forces, a lasting memory of the Vigil's famous commander. With Valana and the Architect gone from the region, the Pilgrim's Path began to see traffic again. The massacre of the militiamen and the merchants, however, led to hostilities between the neighboring human settlements and any Dalish clans that passed nearby. One human villager soon kidnapped and murdered a Dalish child. The clan reacted by giving the Winding Wood a wide berth, and both sides know that at some point the elves will return for revenge. A few hundred years after Cal Hirol was emptied of Darkspawn, Orzammar began to send expeditions to rediscover the knowledge of smithing that had been lost within the Tig. Eventually, House Helmi decided that Cal Hirol was too important to be abandoned. At tremendous cost of Dwarven lives, they cleared the tunnels leading to Cal Hirol of all Darkspawn, making the road between Orzammar and the fortress safe. Cal Hirol was reclaimed for Orzammar once and for all. As promised, Vuldrik and Dworkin represent Orzammar's Shaperate with the stone marker that presented Orzammar's Shaperate. The stone marker that told how Cal Hirol's castle had taken up arms against the Darkspawn. Commander of the Grey was invited to Orzammar as a guest of honor. At a feast commemorating the defenders of Cal Hirol, the Shaper read the names of the castless off the marker and presided over a ceremony to return them to the stone as befitted warriors of their stature. not entirely surprised they'd welcome me back as a guest of honor, given as I was reinstated as Prince of the Realm. In time, the Arling began to forget the tales of apparitions in the Black Marsh, and ever so slowly settlers drifted into the region. Scholars said the veil was still thin and thus the area still dangerous, but people only cared that there were no longer frightening and whispers in the shadows. The village was slowly rebuilt. Twice the Baroness's mansion was rebuilt and occupied, once by a wealthy merchant, another time by a Norwegian mage. They were allowed out of the circle. Both died mysteriously. Afterwards, the mansion was torn down completely and the site left untouched. Anders remained with Grey Wardens a few years longer, training the Order's next generation of mages. Why, where did he go? Might be an interesting story in that. When the Circle Tower called on him to deliver a lecture on the nature of the architect, much to the Templar's dismay, Anders told Count of the Grey that his time with the Wardens was over. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a trap at all. And yet, not 2 months later, Anders returned to the Order. Even ever after, the Wardens were his home and his lasting companions. Oh, that's nice. He'll never leave. The walls of Vigil's Keep were breached. The surviving defenders watched in horror as a section of stone collapsed upon Valana. When the rubble cleared, however, there's no body. Valana was just gone. Nathaniel meant to survive the battle at Vigil's Keep, leading a spirited defense in the last minute to protect his family home. The Frosty impressed many of his fellow soldiers who hoisted him on their shoulders and paraded him around the courtyard when the battle was done. Cool. After spending a number of years with the Wardens, Nathaniel realizes life was not for him. He said goodbye to his sister Delilah and his new nephew, and left to seek his fortune. Okay. In time, that nephew became a Grey Warden himself, and in emulation of Nathaniel, he rose to Warden Commander. He brought honor to the Howe name once again. Okay, the thing I find kind of interesting about this is that this is stuff which technically happens after Veilguard. Would have to happen after Veilguard, pretty much. So, I guess the world's okay. I mean, all of this is going to be fine. Justice fought valiantly at the Battle of Vigil's Keep, but before the victory horn sounded, the Darkspawn sword removed Kristoff's head. It was, of course, unclear whether the spirit of justice perished or simply departed. At the least, Kristoff's wife, Aura, was finally able to claim her husband's ashes. With the mother dead, Sigrun seemed to lose her purpose. She withdrew from her friends in the Order and spoke to them less and less each day. One morning, Sigrun was simply absent, her bed made and her trunk emptied. A young recruit who had been up in the night said she had left for her calling, gone to finish what she started in Kal Haral. Okay, that's interesting. She shouldn't have been a Grey Warden long enough to receive the calling. Though, I mean, it would make perfect sense for her to go back to the Legion of the Dead, and probably be more valuable for it as well. Ogren continued to regale young Warden recruits with tales of his prowess. Both battle and bed, his drinking games prompted at least one recruit to declare that she'd rather attempt the joining than lift another mug. Felsi returned to Vigil's Keep several times to see Ogren, usually bringing the toddler Zell. Ogren's inability to act seriously wore on her, however, and her visits dwindled and then stopped altogether. If Ogren missed her or his child, he never showed it. Disappointing. As for the savior of Ferelden, he did not remain as commander of the Grey for long. The Darkspawn were no longer a real concern. Light well and truly over, it was time for him to move on. Okay. Some claim the commander headed west to Orlais, chasing after the dark-haired sorceress who had fought alongside him during the Blight. Whether he found her or not, he certainly did not return to Vigil's Keep. That might be an interesting adventure to see. Okay, and so that was the end of that DLC. Yeah, guess this is probably gonna be a shorter one. Thank you for watching. Do your own things with YouTube's buttons, and have a nice day.